Your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. We have Michelle Berman Michael with us. Welcome.
Yay. Thank you, Ron. I'm so excited to be here. This is fun.
Glad to have you with us. And hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Man, we like to celebrate. What are we going to celebrate today? Let's see. I know that we've got National Mulled Cider today. I don't know. I'm a little bit of a mulled cider. Can we spike that with something? There's got to be something we can spike our cider with and just give it a little extra punch. National Chewing Gum Day. I don't know about that one. I'm not much of a gum person. Although, I guess there are certain times when gum is just necessary. Now, if I'm driving along on the highway, sometimes gum will help keep you a little bit more alert. Although this new car I have, it makes it pretty crazy that you can't really do much. It tells you it's because it's dummy proof, so it's perfect for me. So it's, but I digress. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 92 points. The S&P 500 is down 1.5. The Nasdaq is down 33.75. Wonder what's driving the markets. Could it be a government shutdown on the lurking on the horizon? And, I'm not a big fan of these shutdowns. I think it's pretty stupid when you really think about it. You get these politicians who they really don't care about us. What does every politician care about? The exact same thing. Politicians want nothing more than to get reelected. It's just the way it is. So they're out there working for it. So they all go and they vote for all this spending. And then mysteriously they come up with this idea that, oh, wait a second, we don't want to write the check. So we're going to have a debt ceiling. Now, how about having just a balanced budget? Maybe that would be a good idea. Maybe they should think about that concept where, and Warren Buffett, I'm not, he's a great investor, bit of a hypocrite if you read his book. But the bottom line is that, you can solve the problem very, very quickly. Now, here's the solution that Buffett's come up with, and I think it's a pretty good one. Politicians don't get paid and cannot be reelected if the budget is more than 3% out of balance. Do you think that if the budget gets put into balance, if it's their check on the line, if it's them that has to foot the bill, I bet they find a way to balance the budget, just like you and I have to at home. Now, if you're thinking about balancing your budget, if you're thinking about getting involved in something that requires credit, well, if you haven't got key steps, you're not serious. Yes, I said it. It's my opinion and I'm right. So go get Key Steps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps, and you can actually monitor your credit. I'll be the first to tell you that somebody's trying to steal your identity. It's right in there. Budgeting, asset management, it's all right there for you in Key Steps, and we give it to you for free. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. So I digress. What are we talking about with the budget? Now, here's another one of my pet peeves. Now, I've run businesses my whole life. I've always signed the front of the check, very rarely the back of the check. Well, my wife does that part. But here's the issue, is that non-essential workers are the ones that get laid off during a shutdown, a government shutdown, when they can't get their act together in Washington. If they're not essential, why do we have them? Right? You either have, my businesses, it's either an essential worker or there's no position. The government, you have a bunch of people that are non-essential. I don't understand that part, but it is what it is. As they say, it's Washington, D.C. You don't use logic. You don't talk logic when you're talking about Washington, just the way it is.
It is what it is.
Of course, then again, we're in California here. I'm in California. Michelle's not. Josh is not there in America. But, we're over here with a crazy governor who wants to raise taxes, raise fees on everything. I was on the road this weekend. I couldn't believe it. I was actually looking at gas prices. One of the places we stopped, I had to pull out because I couldn't handle it. $6.40 a gallon for regular unleaded. Ow! Now, the hotel I stayed at, every one of their first 2 rows of parking was EV parking. And empty, by the way, but that's a whole different story. But gas prices right now, do we even want to look at them? $3.15 is the national average for a gallon of gasoline. $3.15. In California, they average $4.65. I couldn't find $4.65 along the road. So I found gas in the 6s. I found it in the high 5s. Hopefully when I get to Costco today, it'll be cheaper. And good Josh is probably over there laughing at me. What, $3.70, Josh? Okay, yeah, $3.70. And, holy cow, Michelle's in Tennessee. $2.77 a gallon of gasoline is the average for the state of Tennessee. Unbelievable. Yeah, so we you get what you vote for. So we voted for all this taxes. We voted for all this gasoline issues. We are in California, so we get all kinds of high prices. It's just a little nutty, but as they say, it is what it is. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, closing costs unpacked, the state-by-state breakdowns for today's buyers. And maybe we'll talk about a home sales forecast and the black line, secrets to making your lane your superpower. We've got social media guru, swimmer expert extraordinaire. Michelle Berman is with us. We'll talk about all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, the Mortgage Minute today, being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app, and every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual lock rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What did rates do yesterday? It looks like a mixed bag if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 or FM 98.1 video feed. Conventional 30-year fixed rate loans down 6.31%. Jumbo 30-year fixed up 6.584. FHA 30-year fixed 6.096. That was down. VA 30-year fixed 5.95. That was up. And the USDA loan 30-year fixed 6.176. That one was down. If you want our thoughts about the market each and every business day morning, as early as the data allows, we do put out a report in the Ron Siegel Radio community. You can access that. rsrlinks.com/HBOD, Household Board of Directors. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. You can get that report right there. Now, let's take a look and see what the markets are doing right now. We have got if I can get my screen to populate here. The S&P 500 is now down 3.47. 10-year Treasury, pretty flat, 4.134. And the mortgage bond, that's up. When the bond goes up, rates go down. It's just a little bit, though. That's up 5 basis points. Par 91 is where that is. So why is all of this happening? All that information I just gave you is on that super secret website, google.com. Actually, does anybody use google.com anymore? Are we going to, I run everything through chat because when I go to Google, it's just all ads. Boring. I shouldn't say that because that's how we make money in radio, right? That's an educational scope. Stocks lower, mortgage bonds higher so far this morning. 11th hour before a government shutdown, and both sides seem very far apart. If there is a government shutdown, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will delay their jobs report, but ADP employment report will still be released tomorrow and will likely have more significance and be the de facto jobs report. Helping the bond market today was a very weak consumer confidence report, which fell from 97.8 to 94.2. The weakest components were on the labor front. 26.9% of consumers said jobs were plentiful, down from 30.2 in August. 19.1% of consumers said jobs were hard to get, unchanged from August. 16.1% of consumers expected more jobs to be available, down from 17.9. 25.6% anticipated fewer jobs, down slightly from 25.9. On the plus side, plans to purchase home rose to a 4-month high. Boston Fed President Susan Collins, who's a voting member this year, spoke this morning, and it sounded like she would be in favor of at least one more cut this year, but she'll still be watching the data closely if it comes out. Let's hope we get the data, but as mentioned, a government shutdown is looking more and more probable. JOLTS, the Job Opener and Labor Survey, a weakness in the labor market was the latest August JOLTS report, showing the job openings were little changed at 7.2 million, which is near estimates, and at weak levels. The trajectory of the decline in job openings has been sharp. There are almost 200,000 more job openings in healthcare, social assistance, and leisure hospitality. That means that many of the other sectors saw a drop in job openings. Healthcare and social assistance and leisure and hospitality are the sectors where most of the job growth has come from within the jobs report. Over the last 6 months, if you remove those sectors and look at core jobs, we have only seen an increase of 0.02% from all the other sectors barely in positive territory. Historically, when core jobs growth as a percentage over the last 6 months has come close to zero, it has preceded a recession. The hiring rate set a new recent low, falling from 3.3 to 3.2%, which ties the lowest level since 2013. The quits rate also set a new recent low, falling from 2% to 1.9%. Fed talks a lot about the VU ratio, which is the amount of job openings per unemployed person. With the latest data, that figure is below 1 at 0.98. That includes a lot of overcounting of job openings due to work from anywhere. Since job openings are counted at the state level, the same job could be posted in several states and be counted multiple times. Apartment list. reported that the rental prices fell 0.4% in September, are down 0.8% year over year. Rental prices should continue to trend lower, as they always do at this time of year. Vacancy rates remain high at 7.1%, which is part of the reason for the declines. The Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is the gold standard of appreciation, showed that home prices fell 0.1% in July on a seasonally adjusted basis. The raw figures show that home prices fell 0.2%, which is the first raw figure decline we can remember. Year over year, home prices rose 1.7%, which is a moderation from 1.9% in the previous report. And finally, pending home sales, the most recent report shows that the drop in rates in August caused more activity. Sales were up 4% last month, which was a big beat versus estimates looking for a flat reading. Year over year, sales are up 3.8%. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends, rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. So today we welcome you to another edition of Ron Siegel Radio, where we connect homeowners and first-time buyers with strategies to build wealth, pay down debt, and retire successfully. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by Michelle Berman. Michael, one of the nation's top Instagram content coaches and the creator of the Black Line approach. She's helped countless realtors, mortgage professionals rethink how they approach social media and client relationships, and her story is going to inspire you. Welcome to the show, Michelle. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Michelle. Black Line. What does Black Line mean?
So the Black Line is actually an analogy based off my 20 plus year swimming career. So I grew up in Southern California. I was actually born and raised in La Mirada, for all my Southern California people. And I have to say, Ron, while we were behind stage there, and there were some houses popping up, and one of them, I shit you not, was literally my parents' house in Palm Desert that is for sale right now. And
wow.
I could tell because of the glass fireplace table in the back of the picture. I knew that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's my mom's backyard. And my parents just recently moved to Denver. So I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to text my mom right now. But I grew up in SoCal, born and raised, lived there until I was 18. Started swimming in early childhood, about 5 years old. Swam competitively all the way through college. So the Black Line is a play off of sort of staring at that black line for many, many, many years of my life. And essentially all of the things that it taught me. And yeah, I ended up writing a book about it.
Wow. So you've said that discipline is a noun, not a verb. How does that philosophy anchor the Black Line approach, and how can listeners apply it?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. And I'll tell you the Black Line as a whole, right? And I think this is the best way to answer your question, Ron. So forgive me for going this direction, but really the Black Line is part memoir, part playbook, and part rallying cry for anyone that's chasing excellence, whether that's in business or whether that's honestly just in life. So drawing from those 20 years of being a competitive swimmer, I talk about how the black line on the bottom of a pool became more than a guide for me. It actually became a metaphor for discipline, for consistency, and ultimately the word resilience, which a lot of people have used to not just describe me personally, but professionally as well. And so the way that I bring that into the book is the book weaves together the personal stories of triumph and hardship with the actionable strategies that an entrepreneur or any sales professional or really a leader of any kind wants to have to be able to move past the attachment that I think our world has with vanity metrics and ultimately focus on what actually freaking matters, which is our daily actions that we do that in turn create long-term impact in our lives. So, you know, the concept of discipline is a noun, and I'm sorry, discipline is a verb, not a noun, right? I think the concept, right, is a noun is a thing, right? It's like it's a person, place, or an object. Whereas a verb is this action that we have to do. It requires us to do something. And I think whether we're, you know, running a company, whether we're trying to sell real estate, whether we're trying to do more loans, like whatever it is, the only way that we're successful at the end of the day is because of the work that we do. And a lot of the times the work that we do is in the quiet hours where there's no applause. And when nobody's sitting next to you with that little hand on your shoulder, patting you on the back saying, keep going, right? And so a lot of this has to do with just the things that have happened in my life personally, and what staring at the black line at the bottom of a pool for 20 years taught me as far as how do I navigate those things. And more importantly, I think it's just, again, it's kind of that rallying cry with, or for everyone of, hey, when the world wants to take you off of the line or off of the focus point that you need to be on, because you know if you stay there, you'll win and you'll be successful. If the world tries to take you off, which it inevitably does, right? And I'm a God person, so being able to talk about my faith and know like the devil is real and that's a thing that happens that pulls us away from who we are as a human. When that happens, what do we do, right? How do we get back to our center? And that's the concept here of discipline. If we understand that it's an action and we understand how to do it in the context of what I'm talking about, it pulls us back to our center. So think of the black line as that thing that you have to stay as close to, right? In a swimming pool. If you guys, anybody listening to this knows swimming, you know that the black line is the shortest distance between point A and point B. So in order to get from point A to point B the fastest, right? Go straight. Don't veer off. So that's why swimming pools have lane lines and things that are designed to keep you from going into your neighbor's lane and all of that. So that's kind of the whole idea. And discipline is not something that we know we need. It's something that we have to embody and actually have to do in order to see the result that we want.
I want to talk to you when we come back, Michelle, because I've always got this internal battle with discipline. And my internal battle, I'll give you a little foreshadowing here, is, if I'm disciplined in doing something over and over and over again, a lot of people say, well, that's how you succeed. But if I do the wrong thing over and over and over again, I'm still disciplined. I'm getting it done every day, but I'm doing it wrong. How do I know? And one of the things you mentioned was the vanity metrics. I want to talk to you about that as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Michelle Berman. We're going to talk about some of these issues. We're going to also talk, if I can find my note card here, about closing costs unpacked, state-by-state breakdowns for today's buyers. We'll get into that. And if we have time, the home sales forecast, all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Closing costs unpacked. State-by-state breakdowns for today's buyers. And if you're thinking about buying a house, got to get the buyer's guide, rsrlinks.com/HBG. If you're planning to buy a home this year, there's one expense you can't afford to overlook. It's closing costs. Almost every buyer knows they exist, but not that many know exactly what they cover or how different they can be based on where you're buying. So let's break them down. What are closing costs? Your closing costs are the additional fees and payments you make when finalizing your home purchase. Every buyer has them. According to Freddie Mac, they typically include things like homeowner's insurance and title insurance, as well as other various fees for your loan application, credit report, loan origination, home appraisal, home inspection, property survey, and attorney or escrow company. National versus local, why the numbers look so different? When you search for information about closing costs online, you'll often see a national range, usually 2 to 5% of the home's purchase price. While that's a useful starting point if you're working on your home buying budget, It doesn't tell the whole story. In reality, your closing costs will also vary based on taxes and fees where you live, like transfer taxes and recording fees, service costs for things like title and attorney work in your local area. While the home is obviously going to matter, state laws, tax rates, and even the going costs for title and attorney services can change what you expect to pay. That's why it's important to talk to pros ahead of time so you know what to budget for. It can put you in control before you even start shopping. To give you a rough ballpark, here's a state-by-state look at typical closing costs right now based on those factors for the median priced home in each state. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 and FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a chart, and we're going to post the chart on our social channels also so that you can see it a little bit better. National average, $4,665. I'm going to guess, and I can't see the numbers, pretty small here, but I'm sure California is way more than that, because when you look at the numbers, our median prices are double what the national average is, maybe more. As the map shows, in some states, typical closing costs are just roughly $1,000 to $3,000. In a few places, they can be closer to $10,000 to $15,000. That's a big swing, especially if you're buying your first home, and that's why knowing what to expect matters. If you want a real number to help with your budget, your best bet is to talk to a local agent and a lender. They can run the math for your price range, loan type, and exact location. And just in case you're looking at your state's numbers and wondering if there's any way to trim that bill, NerdWallet shares a few strategies that can help. Negotiate with the seller, ask for concessions like a credit toward closing costs. Shop around for homeowners insurance, compare coverage rates before you commit. Not going to work too much in Southern California. Check for assistance programs. Some states, professionals, and neighborhoods offer help. Your agent and lender can point you to what's available locally. Bottom line, closing costs are a key part of buying a home, but they can vary more than most people realize. Knowing your numbers and how to potentially bring them down can go a long way to help you feel confident about your purchase. Let's look at the numbers for yourself, and don't forget, if you're thinking about buying that house, get mortgage ready. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And that's not just for your mortgage. Know your FICO or your credit scores. What's the trajectory? Know if you've got somebody trying to steal your identity. It's all right there. Your budget, your assets. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. We are continuing our conversation. Michelle Berman Michael is with us. She is a swimmer, the author of The Black Line, social media guru. Probably knows more about probably forgot more about social media than I'll ever know. But we're talking about a lot of these issues right here. So, Michelle, before the break, you were talking about discipline. And there's probably got to be some definitions in discipline, because I think if you're disciplined to do the wrong thing every day, and I don't mean illegal stuff and nefarious stuff, I might be posting too much stuff on social media, but when I listened to you the first time, you were talking about some simple things and of getting it right, and then looking at real metrics. Explain what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I mean, let's first of all just define discipline in the concept here as far as what we're talking about. And I think that that's important to start with. But discipline, in my opinion, right, not the Webster definition or Webster dictionary definition, but the Michelle Berman Michael definition would really tell you that it's not just about willpower or self-control, but it's actually, are we aligned daily, right? So are we doing something daily that aligns with what our ultimate outcome is? So first and foremost that, but I think focusing on the controllables is my point when I say that vanity metrics is sort of the Voldemort, if you will, right now of the social media space. And, I know you lovingly say a social media guru, but what I really want people to know me more so as is my job is to teach you how to look at social as a long-term sustainable business plan and a business model for you, as opposed to trying to chase a trend or something that might be cool right now. And if you think about, things like different types of reels, right? There's all these different people out there that will tell you, do this trend, because if you do this, it'll go viral, right? Or this is the popular way to do this right now. And the thing I'll tell you, Ron, is that is not a sustainable business model, because what happens is you're constantly going to have to be chasing whatever the new thing is. So the way I kind of describe it is like the dopamine paradox, or sort of the dopamine principle. If you understand this psychologically, it's like, why do people like to gamble? Because it's addictive, right? It's the same concept here. Why is social media something that we seem to spend way too much time on? And it ultimately comes back to, because we're so addicted to an output, or we're so addicted to staring at how many likes we're getting or how many views we're getting, or, you know, on LinkedIn, like how many impressions do we have on our profile? And it's really a problem, because we attach our self-worth, or we attach our success to that number. And the reality of it is, like, what happens if we go on vacation? Oh, well, no shit, our numbers are not going to be as good, because we're supposed to be on vacation, taking time off, right? And so I think that's the big problem with virality and the concept of these viral metrics. How many followers do I have? How many video views am I getting? You know, how many likes am I getting overall? What's my engagement percentage? Some of these metrics that a lot of social media coaches teach. And I just think it's a disservice to anyone trying to use social to create a sustainable long-term business model for themselves, which is, you know, me, right? I've been in business for 11 years. I'll tell you, I've never once gone viral. I've never had a video get more than, 20,000 views max, right? And that would be like the equivalent of viral for me in comparison. I average, 2,000 to 3,000 views, like very normal, very middle of the road, nothing crazy. But that's the thing that I think is important to hear, because that's not how I win. How I win, and what I teach my clients to do, is to understand, how do we use the social platforms as a vehicle for messaging and relationship building that ultimately takes the friction out of prospecting. And I'll say that again, it takes the friction out of prospecting, because prospecting is already by nature a challenging thing, right? Nobody wants to cold call anymore. One, because nobody answers the phone, and two, we don't like getting rejected. We have a fear of someone's going to hang up on us, or someone's going to say, why the hell are you calling me? Right? And it's sort of this a hard barrier to be able to actually get into conversation with someone. So when I developed the Black Line approach many years ago, the idea here was, how can I build a bridge between someone I already have a relationship with, and a genuine one at that, to a person that I do not have a relationship with, right? So how do I use the person I already have a relationship with to get to the next person? And then how do I use social as the vehicle? So what I always want people to pay attention to is the virality, cool, right? It might make you feel good for a minute, but it's a fleeting metric. What's not a fleeting metric is when I get to look at my calendar and look at October and see that I have, 27 calls with people that I don't know. I have 4 in-person speaking opportunities, all earned from outbound prospecting through social. And I have 3 podcasts that I'm going on in the month of October, all that were self-sourced by me to get onto their shows, right? So when I look at that, I'm like, crap, I'm crushing it for October, and it's not even October yet. And that's the cool thing about, if we understand how to use social as a vehicle to build our pipelines. And in my case, right, anybody's case running a business of any kind, we need a full calendar of opportunity. So if you understand what the opportunity is that you need, and you understand how to create relationships through the social channels to fill those buckets of opportunities, who cares how many video views you're getting, right? Because even if it's 500, can you talk to 500 people in a matter of a few minutes? Absolutely not. You can't. I have 12.8 thousand followers. That's taken me 11 years to build. 11 freaking years, guys, right? Most people are like, oh my gosh, Michelle, I'm so proud of myself. I got 2,000 followers this month. And I was like, okay, who cares? Because you can't talk to that many people this month. So why are we focused on a metric that doesn't actually equate to revenue? Because the reality, right, is nobody will, hopefully, I would imagine, maybe hopefully is a little all-inclusive, but most likely, nobody listening to this right now is on Instagram or on social as a whole to become an influencer and get paid for their video views. We're not here for that. So understanding that, I think, is half the battle. And I could go on and on, but I hope that sort of brings us full circle here, right? Of like, what does discipline mean? More importantly, why are we chasing the wrong metric? And ultimately, what is the right metric?
That, I think that that last sentence there really hits it, is because so many people are chasing that wrong metric, right? Likes, views, friends, impressions, all that stuff. Trying, and because I talk about that on the show a lot, is an interest rate. You can't go to Ruth Chris or wherever your favorite restaurant is, with a interest rate or with a like or with a impression or happy faces or any of that. You need dollars, right? So you gotta work toward the figuring out what your metrics are, and like you just shared, that full calendar, that's probably a better metric than how many likes you have.
Without a doubt.
Unbelievable. We're going to continue our conversation with Michelle. I love this conversation. We're going to even tell you how you can reach out to Michelle if you'd like to. When we come back, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. GetHomeSelect.com. I will tell you that all-in-one loan that we talk about in the video at GetHomeSelect.com, it is the absolute best loan on the market if you want to pay less in interest expense. Now, I don't care what the interest rate is because I care about dollars. You cannot go and buy anything with a rate. You can buy lots of things if you have enough dollars. So let's talk about dollars. And that Home Select, the all-in-one loan at GetHomeSelect.com, has the best dollars for you. And let's continue our conversation. That's the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. Continuing our conversation, Michelle Berman Michael is with us this morning. We are learning. It's really a fresh approach to social media because so many people are addicted and just go crazy over the likes, the views, and I can tell you, quite honestly, I'm probably one of them because I didn't know a better way of really dealing with it. I've had a couple people tell me, hey, it doesn't matter that you've got 340,000 connections on social media because you're not doing 340,000 loans and you don't have 340,000 people. Well, maybe we do watching the shows, but the difference in the metrics is what's really important. So let's we're going to continue our learning journey here. Michelle, I want to hear about this one new relationship per day philosophy. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, it's very, very simple, Ron. It's, are you sending a message to someone you do not know every single day for 365 days out of the year? And more importantly, are you doing it through leverage? Right. So leverage, as I mentioned earlier in our time together, is your ability to build a bridge between someone you already have a relationship with to get to somebody that you don't. So first and foremost, who are the people in your life that you could use as levers, right? Who are the people you could very confidently name drop to someone you don't know and have that person you don't know say, wow, yeah, I love that you know Ron. I worked with him for 20 years too. Of course, Michelle, I would love to jump on a call. Or yes, Michelle, absolutely, I would love to. What does Tuesday look like, right? So that's the type of reply you want to get if you use a lever properly in a message to someone you don't know. So first and foremost, you have to identify the levers in your life. Who are those people? And then also the metric of, or I shouldn't say metric, that's a bad word here in this case, but the important part of this message is, are you, Ron, sending one message every day through the social channels? I use the big three: Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So are you sending a message to someone that you do not know every single day using leverage to create an opportunity on your calendar? Right. So I know that my 3 big opportunities that I have to do on a monthly basis is speaking in person, doing webinars and podcasts. So also I know exactly how many of each of those I need to roughly do on a monthly basis in order for my P&L to be happy. So if my executive assistant sends me an email on the first of the month and gives me the 90-day projections for October, November, and December, and one of those categories is a little light, meaning it's a little less than the number we know we need to hit, that raises the red flag in my mind of when I go send that single message today, I have to send it with the intention of garnering that opportunity that I need to get on my calendar, right? Or at least the meeting I need in order to have the conversation about the opportunity that I want to get on my calendar. So it gives me direction for prospecting. So the overall structure here is so stupid simple, yet nobody's doing it. And that's where I feel like, you mentioned a fresh perspective, where in reality, I feel like I've been trying to shout this from the rooftops for the past 10 years. But really it's the last year where I feel like people are genuinely starting to pay attention and really listen to the fact that this isn't the only way to do social, right? Meaning the way that we've all been taught in the past, going to these bazillions of social media classes or taking all of these different little free online courses or following all of these people online of like, here's how some ideas for reels. Here's this free social media calendar. I'll send it right to your inbox. Like, frankly, I genuinely think it's crap, like truly. And I'm sorry to say that out loud. I have some friends that have run companies like that in the past. And I can just tell you, like, it's such crap because it's not the actual solution that the people need. What is the outbound prospecting.
Well, but I think what people miss in that, Michelle, is that, because I agree with you, but I think what they miss is those people are selling a service. And if the person believes that, hey, this guy can get me 10 million views, well, that's what he's selling, is 10 million views. He's not selling, how do I grow my business? You're trying to help somebody to really do what's beneficial for them, as opposed to what these guys are selling, something that looks good, but it's not going to get me any business.
No, it bars the question of like, and I say this all the time. I say, are you, or is anybody in this room, whether figuratively or listening to us, right? Are you tired of spending a ton of time, a ton of energy and money on social and feeling like you're not getting anything out of it? And if the answer is yes, you have a content strategy, you don't have a conversion strategy. And that's a very different way of looking at social. Because if you have a content strategy, you're focused on content production, right? Hey, I need to create my videos for the month. Hey, I need to make sure I have some ideas for the different pillars I want to post in, right? And I'm not saying that those are bad things. Yes, you have to have a content strategy. But if you stop there, what happens is you're living on this hamster wheel of I'm posting every month. I have content day, and every month I'm doing my video shoot day, right? And every quarter I'm doing a branding photo shoot, and you just get exhausted, right? And that's the reality of it. And the problem is if you stop there and you don't understand how to turn the time and the effort into revenue, you will always, always have a very bad taste in your mouth as a whole for the social media community. And that's what I hear every single day, all day. I go to speaking opportunities and it's one of the very first things I say out loud. How many of you guys in here are sick and tired of taking social media classes or sitting on a social media webinar, learning the same shit you did in the 3 before it? And almost 90% of the room every time, I'm not even kidding you, will raise their hand because they're tired of it. So a content strategy is not the same thing as a conversion strategy. You need someone that has both. And I think that this is really important for anyone listening. If you're interviewing someone to help you, you have to know how to ask very, very hard questions, right? Because if you don't know how to ask hard questions that relate to this problem, You will pay someone a lot of money every month because social media help is not cheap, nor should it be. Meaning, like, if you are paying someone $500 a month to post on your behalf, you're going to get what you pay for, guys. Sorry to say it, right? But if you're not asking hard questions and understanding, does the person I'm about to spend money on a monthly basis to have a genuine conversion strategy? And I don't mean, oh yeah, we're going to like a whole bunch of content on your behalf. We're going to comment on a whole bunch of stuff. And our goal is to help you grow 500 followers a month. Guys, that's not a conversion strategy. That's a visibility strategy that plays into your content, right? To help get your content more.
And into your ego.
And to make you feel good. Exactly. And to be fair with you, Ron, you said it earlier, like at the beginning, you said, I think that's me too, like the whole attached to virality and the sort of the vanity metrics. We all are. Okay. I do this for a living. I've been doing it for 11 years and I still care sometimes, right? I'll open LinkedIn and I'll be like, dang, my numbers are down. Right. Or I'll look at someone else's and like a friend of mine and I'll say, hey, what does yours look like this week? And she'll tell me or he'll tell me. And I'm like, mine doesn't look like that. But everyone that I know in the mortgage and real estate space that I've had the pleasure of working with, they don't ask me how many impressions I'm getting. They ask me how I can help them get more calls on their calendar because they're lacking in a category that they want.
Makes a lot of sense. Hey, that's we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to get a little personal with you. What keeps you going every day? What's when you don't have all this, with not having all the clapping, not all having all of the going on these things?
I mean, it's an interesting question, Ron, and I'll tell you, I just turned 35. I'm pregnant with our second baby, technically our third. Unfortunately, we had a pretty serious and traumatic miscarriage late last year. We feel very blessed to be pregnant again when the world was against us, right? We thought we weren't going to ever be able to get pregnant, and we're luckily and very happily pregnant with round 2. But all of this feeds into the answer to your question. What keeps me going is I don't want to work this hard forever, right? And I have a very big vision for my life, one of which was to retire my husband from the Army life, not just from being active duty, which he actually was medically retired right before we met. So luckily I didn't have to go through the process of him being deployed and all of that. But my husband was a civilian contractor for the Army for about 4 years. And it was what he thought was his dream job. And the reality, long story short, is the Army has a lot of red tape and it is very, very challenging for someone of my husband's caliber to get anywhere, to make any progress in the world he was in. So one of the goals that we had as a family was to retire my husband and get him home full time so that he could launch his coaching company. Our goal was to do that by the end of 2025. I retired him May 1st of 2025, which was check box number 1, right, of getting my husband home. But we have a very big goal of retiring and paying our mortgage off by the time we're 50 and our kids are off to college so that we can buy a really fancy RV and travel the world. We don't want to be home all the time. I'm a travel person. I love being in new places and seeing new places and working from wherever I want to work. And so for us, the what keeps me going is I know that I'm not just financially in a place where I can put my sons, both plural, even the one brewing in my belly, right? Our goal is to put them through college wherever they want to go. And more importantly, to set up the legacy of, hey, sons, like you don't have to go to college like everyone tells you have to, but you do have to have a dream, right? And you do have to be unwilling to settle for mediocrity, frankly, right? And so I think for me, it's about legacy building. And I think when I wake up every morning and I know my son is proud that I'm his mom and he tells everybody at school, mommy's coming to pick me up. And like, you can't replace that, right? Like I've built my life around being a present and very involved parent. The T-ball schedule, can we have a moment for how crazy T-ball schedules are, even for 4-year-olds? But just the reality is I would never want to work in a position or for a company where I don't have that freedom and flexibility. So for me, I built it. And I think that's what keeps me going every day is like, I'm doing something that my children are going to be really, really proud of. And when my husband and I die, right, we don't take our wealth with us when we go, because that's what God tells us, right? It's like, it's not about material or worldly things. It's about, is God smiling on us? And are we as a family creating disciples in our world every single day? And I truly believe that not just my message, but also just who I am as a mom and as a wife has done that. And so whether I die today or whether I die 50 years from now, Have I accomplished those two things? Is my son proud of me? And have I left him in a way where he's going to make the world a better place? And have I created a disciple and brought someone to the Lord? And most of the time I can say yes to those every day, both of those.
It's amazing, 35, how well grounded you are and knowledgeable and disciplined. I guess discipline is the right word, of knowing exactly where you want to go and what you want to accomplish. Hey, if you want to meet Michelle, we put a link right there. It's been scrolling across the bottom. It's real simple. rsrlinks.com/meet-Michelle. Goes right to her calendar, so you can actually get a consultation with her. If you haven't got it already, go get her book. We're going to put that up on the screen as well. The Black Line, I've got it sitting here in front of me. And I'm sure you can get it at all the normal places. I guess you used to say Barnes & Noble, but it's Amazon now is just the easiest.
Amazon for sure. It's so fast and so easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you order it now, you'll have it by lunchtime. Well, maybe not quite that quick, but The Black Line is Michelle's book. So you can get that, read the book, follow her on all the social channels. And obviously you've got the link right there. Michelle, I really appreciate you coming in and checking in with us, and good luck with the pregnancy. I've got 3 boys myself. So my oldest is your age though. So I'm an old guy, but you know something I can tell about, not the T-ball, but we go to soccer every Saturday. So we know that with our grandson. So it's the excitement of and you know something, it is all about what the real legacy is, and it's not the money, it's the family. So congratulations on being pregnant. Good luck with that, and continued success on your journey. Again, meet Michelle. It's rsrlinks.com/meet-Michelle is the site. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.